Okay. All righty. Good evening, everyone. This is Ron. This Monday, September the 8th, a little after 6 p.m. And thank you for joining us. Let's get started. See if we have any questions. Anybody have any questions about anything that we talked about? Anything?
Well, did
Well,
anybody see the moon, the red moon, yesterday?
I did not. Did anybody see the moon?
I did. I took a picture of it. I was wondering if anybody else saw it.
I
I,
saw it last night.
I saw it last night.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I missed that. Is there what's the significance about a red moon? And anybody look that up or?
I didn't look it up, but what I've gleaned from it, from different, the moon in different phases,
Uh-huh.
is that all of it involves an influx of energy.
Okay.
That's not surprising because the moon itself is feminine, and we're talking about, and it births something every single time.
Okay. Excellent.
Pastor, isn't that moon called the blood moon?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anyone else? Any questions before we? I am, I guess, a little excited about today. So much going on, and looking forward to talking about it. I didn't think we finished with Habakkuk yesterday. Uh, didn't know if you guys wanted to go back there or if somebody had something else they may want to talk about.
If nobody has anything else to talk about, or are there any questions about Habakkuk, I want to introduce something about Mel.
Okay.
This is Angela. I have a question I wanted to ask about calling it. Well, is there a need to call back your enemy? I mean, not enemy, excuse me. Energy of, like you might say, I call back my energy from every person, place, or thing that no longer serves me in that way.
I have never read anything that grants you that purpose. However, I do know that our energies can be repurposed by Sherman, by the Holy Man in the Village, but it usually is on uh, a scale larger than an individual calling back their individual energy. I've never heard of that before. I'm not going to say that does not exist, but I've never heard of it. And when we talked about reclaiming the energy that had been stolen from us, that was different. That is not me as an individual, or it's not Barbara or Ron or Kathy as individuals saying energy come back to me. Our reappropriation of the energy was putting it in the space where it would be beneficial to humanity. And you may say, but we are a group. We are a group. However, to repurpose the energy for humanity is allowed if you understand how the energy has been used and how it's supposed to be used. Not only that, we have been shown by virtue of revelation that the ancestors in the case of consciousness all have been impressed upon us in a way that it has not been in the past, and we are experiencing the results of it. We are seeing things manifest quite fast now. From the time that we talked about the reliance on ancestors and the ancestral input and influence. Then we go to the Akashic energy and understanding the feminine being the keeper of the soul and masculine being preservation of femininity for the purpose, so it can serve the purpose that it was destined to serve. So that's different than an individual doing that. Now, do I think individuals can pull back energy for a group of people, for mankind? Yes, I do. But individually, I never heard of it.
What about I'm sorry, Angela, were you done with your, do you have a second question, or would that make sense to you?
Yes, it makes sense. That was the only one I had.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for the question. Was somebody else about to say something? Okay, I guess all we've studied here lately, the Akashic records and understanding energy, and I thought about forgiveness. Is that the same as repurposing energy? Uh, not only forgiving yourself, but someone else who may have brought you harm, or how does that?
When we talk about forgiveness, forgiveness is about restoring energy.
Yeah,
And for lack of a better way to express it, unforgiveness opens you up to things that are not conducive to happiness. Unforgiveness is something, it's like you going through a period of time when nothing was working right for you. But when you are not forgiving of others, you won't be forgiven. So my question is, if Ron Johnson refuses to forgive Sheldon for what happened, then what happens to Ron Johnson when it says that you cannot receive forgiveness unless you forgive, right?
yes,
So I see that it's not just for Sheldon, but I see you're not being forgiven for anything.
Hmm.
You can't appropriate forgiveness if you don't forgive.
Okay,
I mean, your forgiveness is a gift, but also it's a mandate. Unforgiveness and you not being forgiven until you fulfill the mandate of forgiveness, you will be in a space of unforgiveness. No one will forgive you, or maybe they will, but you can't accept it. You can't embrace it.
yeah. So they will freeze them, but not necessarily you, because
Right?
of your state of mind.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you don't forgive, then that means that the person that Sheldon is renting space in your mind and your soul that he is not paying rent on. Because to live with unforgiveness, when you see that person, what happened comes back to you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I would like to hear other what some more insight into that, if anyone would like to give it now.
Hello, this is Sheldon. Good afternoon. Yeah, saying the exact same thing, but in a different way. What I was thinking about, Ron, when you first posed your question,
Mhm.
is similar to. You hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That energy being repurposed, in a sense. You think about what is actually happening when we harbor unforgiveness in our heart. We have then separated ourselves in a sense from that person, in terms of that connection. Now, of
Mhm.
course, we know that we're not actually separated from them, but I mean, from a mental and emotional standpoint, we've actually tried to separate ourselves from that person. The other thing that we've done, as long as we hold that unforgiveness, is we actually have said, not necessarily directly, but as a result of what is actually going on, that that person, in a sense, does not deserve to be redeemed. We don't see them as deserving to be redeemed. We see them that they should be the lesser than. Let's just say, for example, very quickly, we don't think that they deserve all the goodness or all the rights that not only are bestowed upon us that we talk about every week, but that who we are. We are saying that they are not that. And as a result, because in a sense we are the same as that person, as a result of that, we're then saying the same things about ourselves, right? So in that idea of saying that if you can't forgive, I can't remember the exact words. If you fail to forgive someone else, then you are gone unforgiven. It's as if you yourself or the person who's not forgiving you because you're holding yourself to a standard within is saying that you're not worthy of this forgiveness, or you lesser than what we actually can claim and know ourselves actually to be. So as a result, it's the exact same thing where one finger is pointing one way before fingers are pointing the other way. So we essentially hold ourselves in a ditch, in a sense, from an awareness and spiritual standpoint, based upon this unforgiveness that we refuse to basically get off of, in terms of the other person or another person.
Yeah.
And that energy, when you talk about it, not only well, go ahead right quick before I go by the
No.
energy part.
I was just going to say what you describing really talks about how connected we are. We like to think we're individuals, but in the spiritual sense, we really are so connected. We don't realize how powerful that is.
Yes.
The other thing is that energy flows. And so as what you just described, Sheldon, is energy that's bottled up, that is not meeting its potential and it's just stuck in you. You're not giving, and so there's no room for you to receive, in a sense.
Yeah.
If that resonates.
Marvin, let me go a little bit further though, right? As someone ruminates and concentrates on that unforgiveness and pushing that person away, even spiritually, and saying that they're not worthy and things like that, that is actually, in a sense, concentrating on that, because, right, our concentration is redirecting energy as well. You or we, when we do this, when we're not forgiving someone, we're in a sense growing. Let's think of that as a tumor, a cancer, right? We're actually growing that particular thing as we sit there and concentrate and put all our attention on it, and we're fixated on it, and we won't move away from that. And it has an adverse effect on our mood, our day, literally down to our bodies, to the cellular level. Yeah. All because that is what we're actually concentrating on. And so you talk about repurposed energy, what stood out to me when you first said that is if you do the opposite, right? If you actually have forgiveness. So the same thing I just described as someone concentrating on in terms of unforgiveness. This person is not worthy. They don't deserve goodness. They're separated from the love of God in some sense, or at the very least, in some type of retribution, they don't deserve the love of the God. Like, you're literally trying to, in a sense, you're not necessarily thinking about this, but this is what's actually taking place. we're trying to cut them off or say they do not belong in creation, right? Well, the opposite of that, right, is to forgive. And to forgive is to also cultivate the opposite of that. You look beyond whatever that person has done and say, in spite of that, they are deserving of, love. They are still a part of me. In a sense, you are feeding a whole or a sense, but you're not just doing that to them. You're doing that to yourself as well. You're healing your body down to a cellular level. So, and all of that, if you think about it in a sense, is redirecting energy, is your energy, because we automatically grow what it is that we concentrate on, what we feel extremely strongly about and extremely passionate about. That is where our energy actually flows. That is what we actually cultivate.
I see what you're saying. It resonates so much. In other words, because energy flows, then it's gonna flow. Regardless, the issue is what is your intent? And if you are harboring things, it's gonna flow and grows whatever it is you're trying to perpetuate negatively in someone else. It grows in you. Is what I hear you saying.
Yes. And you feel the opposite effects when we actively forgive someone. All those other things that I just it's like we nourish ourselves when we're able to overcome things and forgive others and see the good in others. And we're automatically connected to them. That doesn't mean that every single person we see walking outside has to realize that, but it does absolutely mean that regardless of them understanding it from a conscious standpoint, that is what is actually taking place.
And can I add something or ask a question? So if we're in unforgiveness, then we basically decrease our own vibration in terms of our connection to the universe.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, so we're hurting ourselves.
Yes.
Yes. In a sense, we're cutting ourselves off, or if you want to think about it, we ourselves are retreating from our connectedness. Now, of course, we can never, ever absolutely sever that connection, but we can absolutely, in a sense, roam off the range, not necessarily get lost, but, walk away and not actually experience the oneness and the love. It's the same thing as all of a sudden someone feeling lonely and not having love. It's to walk away from being loved, in a sense. That is kind of what it is that we're doing when we harbor unforgiveness in our heart.
Yeah.
That comfort.
Yeah.
Of course, it's still there, but we're still walking away from it in terms of experiencing it.
When we on this journey, the closer we have gotten to being expressive and embracing who we are, one of the main things that we discussed several different times and in depth is forgiveness. And once we've begun to understand or embrace that energy of forgiveness, and feeling the vibration of it, that is when it seems like everything moved us toward understanding more of the spiritual wisdom that we were searching for. And
I remember. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bob.
I remember, what was it, 15 years ago, the Emmanuel Church, the horrendous murders there. The first thing that we've done, because we've been working up to that point, is that we said they have to forgive.
Yes.
In other words, instead of turning our anger at Dylann Roof, we focused our resolve on the what are they, the 9, and we said that their survivors have to forgive. That was the clear way to heal, and so they did.
Yeah. And I remember feeling uh, the refreshing of it when they did, when one of the sisters of one of the victims came out the next day and talked about forgiveness, and I could feel that. And I'm like, wow.
Well, you remember the reporters was like, how can you forgive? This is so fresh.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But it melted my anger because I'm like, wow,
well,
that's powerful.
it did what it's supposed to do.
Yes.
And the ones who were trying to figure out how could you forgive somebody, it's something that fresh. They just didn't know what forgiveness is. And think about this. If we are the most forgiving people on earth, then that means that we have an excellent chance, opportunity rather, to vibrate with the universe at all times.
Hmm.
Vibrating with the universe, Audrey. You mentioned that, and what came to mind when you said that, when you raised that question rather, also was vibrating with the universe is vibrating at the frequency of the melanin that's in the universe. All of it has the same what hertz of vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important. I remember early on in church, when I began to pastor, people would say they forgive with their lip service. They gave lip service to forgiveness. And then later on, when I understood that it is possible to process people through things just as easily as it was possible to bring healing to people by the laying on of hands. When I would process people through forgiveness, they said they had forgiven, but when they got in that space where the infraction was no longer in the past, it was in the now, and they were facing and feeling it all over again. They realized that they had not forgiven. They just said that. And once they were processed through that, and then conversation with them and taking them right back into that space, they felt totally different. No anger, no tears, because the forgiveness was from the soul and not from the lips that we have been taught is supposed to pronounce forgiveness, but not taught that forgiveness is supposed to be experienced on both ends. I'm done.
Anyone else? Any questions about this? Okay. Pastor, did you have another area you wanted to explore tonight?
Well, I wanted to see if
but I'm not sure if you were about to stay right here for one more second, but I wanted to say one quick thing before we moved on. Okay. And I know to Pastor Richard's point just now, I just wanted to emphasize what we're talking about, because we've talked about forgiveness, quite a few times over the years. And it may be someone who's hearing this for the first time who's simply thinking about forgiveness in the way that a lot of us were taught forgiveness, which just means for us to literally say something with our mouths and saying, oh, I'm not upset anymore about something that someone did that we didn't care for. We're talking about something, not just lip service, but something far beyond that. What we're talking about when we talk about forgiveness is we're talking about the way that we actually view people and the light that we actually hold them in, and to see the divinity in them. So what I mean by that is we're not seeing them as being less than. We're not seeing that they're not deserving. It does not mean that whatever they did, all of a sudden that you were, okay with whatever thing that they did. What it is saying is, I see you as a good or great person regardless of this thing that you did. And I see and can recognize that even you may be better than that decision or whatever thing that you actually did. I refuse to look at you and to see that you are a locus upon the earth that should be eradicated forever, or you don't deserve life. That is what we mean when we say to forgive someone. It means that in the way that you actually see them from your heart. Not that you tell, and it is also the case that you may not ever get to actually tell someone you forgive them. What is most important is how you hold them in what regard in your heart. It could be someone who has transitioned. It could be someone for just like a numerous number of reasons that you never see them again. But that's what we're talking about when we forgive someone. We restore them in a sense to the God, the Elohim that they are within ourselves. We acknowledge that. I'm finished.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I have a question. Yeah, this is Evelyn. So, do we forgive Trump for what he's doing? Because I remember scripture when it says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That's my question.
We've already done that.
Evelyn, go ahead.
I'm going to say that the depth of our forgiveness is seen by the uncovering of everything that's been done beneath the surface. If we had not forgiven, then we would see none of this. Go ahead, Shirley.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, along with what you said, and I absolutely agree, thank you, Evelyn, for your question, because it actually then also illustrates an example of forgiveness. We also never said that we embrace and love the things that, he has done and continues to do. What we said was that we continue to see him as a part of us, a part of creation, and regardless of what he does, whether we agree with it or not, we're not going to essentially look at him in the way that Neanderthals look at not only other humans, but you think about Mother Nature and everything in it as well. If something is not worthy and just should be disregarded, it's as if we honor the life in all. But again, that's looking at this spiritual being and looking at just a human being doing something that is not only hurtful to others, but hurtful to themselves. We're looking at that two totally different, two different ways.
And Shelby, in addition to that, Shelby, when we think about, when she raised the question about forgiving Trump, we had to forgive all the presidents, because all of them did the same thing Trump did. They just did it under the covers.
Even Obama.
Even Obama. Obama didn't have a choice. He didn't have a choice. The people who run this country are not the people who are elected to office. They are the people who make sure that people get elected to the office.
And like the rest of them, he knew what he was getting into.
Absolutely. He knew. I believe that he got into it in the beginning because he was chosen before he came to the Senate. I believe that the reason that Obama ran for president after being in the Senate for one term not
Mhm.
even a full term, is because that was the road, that was the map that they chose to use because there was nothing they could point to in the Senate that they could create ads about him in a negative way. So before he could do much of anything in the Senate, that's what happened. So yes, even him, because we're not forgiving people individually as much as we are recognizing the energy that all of them are guided by, regardless of who it is in that particular office. Does that make sense? I mean,
It does.
we go ahead.
Well, it does. And I'll let you finish what you're about to say.
Okay, well, when you look at what happened to Kennedy, Kennedy was not assassinated because of a Cuban crisis. Kennedy was assassinated because he had chosen to dissolve the Federal Reserve. And the first bill that was printed that says that did not have the Federal Reserve on it, had what was it, something of the U.S. on of the United States of America on it. A month later, he was dead. So it is not the people in office who runs the country or the world. People, we are facing not America only. We are facing every system on the face of the earth that has bought into the energy of America. Think about that. That is an awesome responsibility. And there is no way that we could even embrace that if we didn't believe in God. Because Elohim is the only one who can deal with this amount of energy that is being used to destroy people and the earth. That's a lot to think about.
Or maybe not think about, just concentrate on who you are and what you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Not get caught up in the who
Well,
am I that I could do that, kind of thing, or let fear
yeah,
overtake you. Just look at who you are.
yeah, the energy is what helped me more.
Yeah.
I've said to you guys before that I'm riding down 26 and I'm looking at all these cars, and what comes to me is, what make you think that you can change the hearts of these people? How many people do you think you can change? Just you. And then when I began to understand what energy is, what melanin is, it was then that I understood that it was not I as an individual. It was the spiritual essence of who I was created to be. And from that, here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
So let me ask too, because what is it that makes you forgiving, giving you that forgiving spirit or the forgiving heart? Because I'm learning now I can forgive people who have hurt me, who have said things to me. I forgive the Caucasian, that I'll say the European mindset for what they've done to the African. So what is it that makes you have that forgiving heart? Did I just miss what you just said? Did you just say that? Because there are times when certain things are not, you can forgive a person, but you chose not to. So what is it that softens your heart to forgive? Or is that just who we are? That's my question.
Two parts to that. One part is the question. What makes you unforgiving? Make sense?
Yes, and I'm gonna tell you this too. I remember I told you it's the family that I made the statement that when someone hurt you, you want them to feel the hurt that they've caused you, the pain. And you told me that is not normal because I asked if that was normal and you said no, because that's not who we are. So, yeah.
The reason it's not normal is because our mindset has been influenced and indoctrinated by the European mindset. And that's the source of massive unforgiveness in the earth. And the thing that's unforgiven was kind of crazy. The thing that's unforgiven by that European mindset is when you're in a country on the continent and you demand your independence and take over your resources. And now you are in a position where you are supposed to seek forgiveness and give it back. That's crazy. But that's that mindset that we are constantly, that we have been influenced by. So it is up to us. Now, where it comes from is exactly what you said. Forgiveness is because that's who we are. You cannot vibrate with the universe. You cannot be in rhythm with the universe carrying unforgiveness. Because Sheldon did an excellent job at describing what was the mindset of not forgiving someone, what you're saying about them as opposed to them. That help, Evelyn?
Yes, sir, it does. And honor to the ancestors. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hey, Pastor, this is Charles.
Mm-hmm.
I know from a little boy up, I mean, I love my daddy, regardless of what I went through. And still, he didn't love me. And as I got grown and the rest of the children got grown, he would want to see us. And his brother came and told me, said, man, it's your daddy, you need to see him. I said, I'll think about it, because right now I can't see him. But it took me a while. I didn't know God at that time, anything like that. I was out in the world. Then something told me and said, go ahead and see him. I said, I don't want to see him. So you're going to have to. And so I thought about it. I played around with it. And it said, you're going to have to forgive him. And I didn't want to. But I just went on ahead and saw him. And as that time when I was seeing things was coming up, I wanted to say something to him, but I didn't. And it took time, real time. I never told him, but I forgave him in my heart when I was a kid. But my brothers and sisters, he was wanting to see them too. I know where they all was at. And I said, well, let me go talk to him first. I went and talked to him. He said, man, we don't want to see him. He didn't treat us like a father. He didn't treat us like a dad. We always look to you. I said, yeah, but he's your dad. He's your father. I wouldn't. You're going to have to talk to him and, change,
it's however y'all feel about it. Do you want to talk to him or do you not? I can relay it back to him. And then they asked me, so what you think? I said, I think y'all need to talk to him. And go from there. So they all said, yeah, we'll see him. So I took Daddy to every one of his children, except the twin, because I didn't know them. I knew him, but I didn't know him personally. But anyway, all the rest of them saw him and talked to him. They hugged him, and they just let it go. But I was the only one that he can call and talk to, or he can call to find out to give the mother children the letters and stuff like that. And he always sent them here, and I had to go take them to him. But I didn't know that his children got in trouble, and they needed him, but they were wanting to come and stay up there with him. And he didn't want them close to him, so he paid whatever trouble they was in. But I didn't know that. They just told me that not too long ago. So it hurt it. I mean, when I asked him for some money, he gave it, but I didn't ask for a whole lot. I just asked for a little something. I was going to pay him back, but I got in the crunch. And then he got mad at me because I didn't pay him back. So I said to myself, I ain't going to, get tangled in not paying him back. I mean, I have to pay him back. If I had, I'd give it to you. But anyway, he came and confronted me about I didn't pay him back. So making a long story short, I still had to love him anyhow because I couldn't pay him back. And he seen that all the time when he told me I never amount to anything, I never have anything, I'd be worse than he is. And
He told you he hated you.
yeah, and he told me he hated me, and I was just 12 years old and get the H out of his house. No, I was 13. And he told me to get the H out of his house, and I got myself together, started getting out. But my mama came and talked to me and begged me not to go because she said, son, please don't leave because you're the only one can help me with these kids. And I said, Mama, these kids not mine, they're daddy. But he said, he don't come. He only come, all his running, all his money don't blow. When you help that you make. Sir?
Charles, all of that made you the person that you are.
Yeah, definitely.
So, of course, it's painful and was painful. Yet, it took all of that to make you who you are. There's nothing done to us for the destruction of us if we learn a lesson from it. Everything is given to us as nourishment in different ways, but it makes us stronger because it is not designed to destroy us. So I appreciate you sharing with us again the things that you've gone through in regards to how important it is to forgive people. So again, I say thanks, sir, for sharing.
Yeah, and I thank everybody for what they said because I said to myself, I forgave him when I was a kid because I still.
Yeah, and that's great.
Right now I still love my dad, but can't tell him. I mean,
so
it the way he did. And it's a lot of stuff I need to tell you real whenever I get you, on the phone. But like I said.
Well, call me afterwards.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it, okay?
All right.
All right. Thank you, sir.
I'm done.
Okay. Ron?
I agree with what you said earlier, we have talked about forgiveness a lot, and there's a reason for it. And as I listened to what Charles said, uh, I remember men similar to how he describes his father, whole generations of black men that were full of rage and anger, and they didn't have anywhere else to aim it except at family. So all of that is a part of who we all are. And maybe you didn't experience it directly, of course, but all of that is a part of the heritage of the African here in America. And all of that too is the energy that we're talking about now. So, but good stuff. Anyone else? Pastor, did you want to?
Briefly.
Okay.
I want to briefly mention this about melanin. We've talked about it before, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it some more. There's a video where this guy talks about Elon Musk establishing in Memphis, Tennessee, a plant or a place for him to be able to actually add to AI. But what he wants to do is to extract melanin from people. And all I want to say about it right now is this. We have talked about or talked around this for some time. Europeans know who we are. Europeans know that we are gods. The only one who doesn't know that is us. If they did not know that, why would they want our melanin? If they did not know that, why in Bolivia they made efforts to whiten up Africans by forced marriages between Africans and Europeans, and the same thing over and over again until they could, as they put it, get the color of the African out of their society. That's what they were trying to do. So I wonder how long is it really going to take us to open our eye, or even just our eyes, and walk away from the church? How long is it going to take us to do that? When we were indoctrinated with Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, it was to force us to forget who we are, and it worked. It worked. And here we are now, full circle. Here we are now with someone who wants to harvest melanin. And to harvest the melanin from us means that we are going to be disappeared or unalive. We're going to be unalive because that's what they that's what the research that is doing now. And I'm saying this not to hurt your feelings, but if it does, it's okay. Why? Because sometimes you have to be hurt before you see the truth. Melanin is the most expensive entity on the earth. It's more expensive than any mineral on this earth. And the reason they're trying to harness it is because they know the power of melanin. We don't. As a people, We are dumb as hell. We just dumb when it comes to melanin. We're all, I'm not an African. Ain't no African in me. Look in the mirror, dummy. It is. And if you have melanin in you, you don't mean anything to European mindset. All they want to do is cipher your energy and harvest your melanin so that they can benefit from it. However, they can put all the melanin they want into a computer or whatever, a server, whatever. They will not be able to control it. The reason they won't be able to control it is because melanin is the God source. And we have to know who we are on a broader basis and embrace the idea of melanin. Even people who talk about melanated people don't believe that they have African roots. And I don't know how they make that disconnect. I don't know how to do that. However, using that melanin is going to change the direction and thoughts of AI. That's all I'm saying. And some of the responses I got from some of the people today was in-depth discussions of it. And that's why I said that I want to simply mention this portion of it. And we can get deeper into it at another time, because if we were to get deeper into it now, we probably got an hour or two left. I mean, an hour or two into it before we'll be off Zoom or the phones. So what do you guys think?
We can, but I may get off at some point. If you guys want to go.
I would rather save it to everybody's available to be on without having. I know you got to get off, of course, in the morning.
Yeah.
Can we save it? I vote for that.
Yeah, we can save it.
Okay.
Well, I will ask all the facilitators to look at not only that, but do some further digging, so that when we begin to discuss it, we can do a deep dive on our desire to understand the nature of melanin and why is it that Europeans know more about melanin than we do, and we are in denial about our African roots, yet we are melanated.
I have some thought to that. Two things came to mind. I want to look at how he said 100 years ago they started harnessing it. And I want to see what that's all about. What he's talking about, that part of it. But the ignorance of the African was calculated and planned. We had nothing to do with how we were educated, and I think that was hidden. And just like the watermelon thing, anything that had to do with isolating us, we were made to feel ashamed of. Just like you said, some people say, I'm not an African. So anything that sets us apart, we were made to feel like, hey, this makes you less than rather than greater. And we bought into it. So that was calculated. That was done intentionally. But here we are now.
In conclusion, I agree with you, Ron. In conclusion, why is it that the whole earth was called Okebulon? Because the only people who inhabited any land base on the face of this earth, every one of them were African.
Yeah.
Every one of them. It was not Indians, it was Africans, inclusive of Europe. So anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that, and we can talk about it later. I'm done, guys.
Great discussion though. Good job. Good energy. So I hope you guys have an awesome week, and look forward to Saturday morning. Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Good